Hi, this is Don Farber speaking on behalf of Sage Software and Vineyard Soft Corporation, and I'd like to welcome you to this presentation on the Sage Alerts and Workflow solution. This presentation will take approximately 20 minutes. Now, I'd like to start out today's presentation by asking you if in your daily business activities you ever felt like saying, if only we had known. If only we had known that a particular customer was so far past due, we wouldn't have sold them additional products or services, or we would have automatically sent them copies of their overdue invoices or their statement to get them paid. If only we had known that a particular sales rep was our discount king, we would have talked to that person to have them try and reduce the amounts of discounts that they offer to customers. Or for that matter, if only we had known that a particular customer had changed their buying habits or had stopped buying from us, we would have done something about it. Well, it is that concept of if only we had known that plays directly into an organization's need for a technology like Sage Alerts and Workflow. And in fact, we reduce scenarios like these into the concept of the cost of not knowing or of knowing too late. So consider the following business scenario. Let's say, for example, that your customers normally pay within 30 days. They have net 30 terms. Now here you are, perhaps partway through a month, and you find that you have a client who's severely overdue. Perhaps they owe you $25,000 or $30,000 worth of receivables, and those receivables have now gotten to be more than 30 days past due. Maybe they're 40 or 45 days past due. But you don't know about them. Why? Because you wait until the end of your month to run your AR aging report. So between now and the end of the month, a salesperson speaks with this customer, they process another order for this customer, and by the time the end of the month does roll around, by the time you get around to running and reviewing that AR aging report, you realize that this customer is now severely past due. In fact, you could say that this customer is using you as their personal lending institution. You're floating them a loan for some $55,000 worth of products or services. Now, hopefully they'll pay those off, but if not, you're looking at having to write off some $55,000 worth of bad debt. So what can you do to address a situation like this and prevent it from occurring? Well, number one, as soon as a customer becomes past due, whether it's a dollar value or a number of days, automatically notify the appropriate people, starting with the customer's account manager or salesperson. At the same time, you might want to automatically notify your finance department or even a collections agency that you're using to get this customer to pay down their existing debt. And automatically resend the customer copies of their overdue invoices or their statement, again, without waiting for the account manager or someone else to manually process these, and automatically put the customer on credit hold as soon as they become past due. Now, I say automatically, I mean without any human intervention necessary. And finally, instead of waiting until the end of the month to run your AR aging report, how about enabling that report to automatically run, generate, and get distributed whenever one or more clients' balance or days past due exceeds a certain threshold? These are the types of capabilities that are made possible through a solution like Sage Alerts and Workflow. Now, when we talk about this scenario of if only we had known, what that really boils down to is giving a voice to your ERP data. Can you imagine if your Sage ERP system was able to reach out and tap you on the shoulder when certain business conditions or scenarios occurred? If when a client was becoming past due, if your ERP application tapped you on the shoulder and said, hey, this customer needs to be followed up with. Or when an inventory item is approaching its reorder level, again, to have your ERP data proactively tap you on the shoulder and let you know that a purchase order might be required. Well, the bottom line is that organizations need to invest their ERP data with a voice because there just aren't enough people, there aren't enough hours in the day, there aren't enough resources to keep on top of everything that's going on within your ERP system and the data within it. However, if you had a way for your staff to automatically enable your ERP data to speak to you, to deliver the information that your staff relies upon, deliver it to you and your colleagues when you need it in the format that's most appropriate, then you're actually enabling your ERP system to become data-driven. Now, that data-driven technology is made possible through a technology like Sage Alerts and Workflow. Sage Alerts and Workflow has been around for over 13 years now and previously known under a couple of other names, most commonly Knowledge Sync and also Sage Knowledge Sync. But Alerts and Workflow, as it's now known, is the most widely used alerts and workflow solution on the market today with over 9,000 customer organizations worldwide. And over the years that it's been around, it's been the recipient of numerous awards and commendations that you can see listed at the bottom half of this slide. Perhaps most importantly, the very last one listed on the slide, Forbes, an organization that knows a thing or two about business, gave Alerts and Workflow their commendation for top productivity enhancing tool. Now let's start to drill down a little bit deeper into the Alerts and Workflow solution. When we do so, we can see that it really consists of 3 tiers of functionality. First is the ability to monitor for specific business conditions and trigger alerts. Secondly is its ability to automatically trigger, generate, and deliver relevant forms, documents, and reports, the scenario that we talked about earlier. If a customer is overdue, let's automatically have Alerts and Workflow resend them copies of their overdue invoices or their statement, or maybe even automatically generate the AR aging report for that client. And then thirdly is the Workflow module, the ability to go back into your ERP solution and, for example, put an overdue customer on credit hold so no future orders are placed for them. Let's drill down yet another layer deeper. Now, when we talk about the components of Sage Alerts and Workflow, it starts out by monitoring your ERP application for any business conditions that are important to you. And that last phrase bears repeating, any business conditions. Whether it is things like receivables that are overdue for payment, customers who've changed their buying habits or have not purchased from you, stock that's approaching a reorder level, any condition. In fact, out of the box, Sage Alerts and Workflow ships with roughly 75 pre-configured business conditions that you can monitor for and respond to. You can use those, customize them, and create an unlimited number of additional scenarios of your own. It's important also to note that that means monitoring every aspect of information across your Sage ERP application, whether it's accounting, manufacturing, data, everything. Now, it's also worth noting that Sage Alerts and Workflow was designed to be enterprise-wide. What that means is beyond just monitoring your Sage ERP application, Alerts and Workflow can monitor your other business applications as well. Do you have a sales or CRM application? Because if you do, it sure would be nice to monitor for conditions like opportunities that are overdue for closing. Likewise, do you have a help desk or customer service solution? Because if you do, it'd be really nice to know about those service calls that have been outstanding for more than a certain number of hours. It'd be nice to know if any of your individual support reps are overloaded with too many high priority calls assigned to them. And maybe you even have a human resource or HR solution. Well, Alerts and Workflow can monitor those types of products as well. But Alerts and Workflow goes beyond just monitoring your business applications to also monitoring the content of incoming email. Does your organization have email accounts or addresses like info@yourcompany.com or sales@ or support@? Does your organization have a website where you allow people to fill out forms and ask questions and request product information? If you do, I would ask you to consider whose job is it to monitor those incoming email messages, or are those generic accounts simply places where email messages go to die? Alerts and Workflow can automatically monitor, respond to, and process an unlimited number of incoming email messages that come to your organization. Also, from a monitoring perspective, we've talked about how Alerts and Workflow can monitor data in your Sage ERP solution, maybe in a sales or CRM solution, HR, etc. Well, Alerts and Workflow also has the unique capability to monitor conditions between multiple business applications. For example, you have your Sage ERP application. Perhaps you also have a sales or CRM application. Wouldn't it be nice to know when a new sales opportunity entered into your sales or CRM system is for a customer who has overdue invoices in your ERP system, or where that customer is on credit hold, or where the amount of that new opportunity would, when added to the customer's open receivables balance in your ERP system, that total would put the customer over their credit limit. Now, there are two last aspects of monitoring that we need to talk about in Sage Alerts and Workflow. The first is its ability to monitor your operating system to look for such conditions as low disk space on one of your database servers, one of your staff members who's let their Outlook email box fill up, or even simply someone trying to break into one of your organization's servers. And because the information that Alerts and Workflow delivers, whether it's delivering an order confirmation or letting a customer know that they're past due or sending a purchase order to a vendor, the delivery of those alerts is critical to your organization's success. So Alerts and Workflow can actually monitor the status of the alerts that it delivers and make sure that they reach their intended recipients. And if not, Alerts and Workflow can perform what's called alert failover, notifying a secondary person if the primary recipient is not available. Now, we've talked quite a bit about sending alerts, so it's worthwhile mentioning how does Sage Alerts and Workflow deliver those notifications? Well, pretty much any device that you can imagine, email, text message to a cell phone, fax, screen, pop, instant message, social network, all of these alert delivery methods are provided as part of the Alerts and Workflow solution. We often get asked, what email systems does Alerts and Workflow support? Does it support hosted email such as Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo Mail? Does it support Exchange or POP3 or SMTP mail? The answer is yes to all of them. Alerts and Workflow also support some more sophisticated alert delivery methods. We mentioned instant message, as well as web-based dashboard, and even graphic alerts. All of these alert delivery methods are part of Sage Alerts and Workflow. Now, in the scenario that I discussed at the start of today's session, I talked about how Alerts and Workflow can automatically generate and deliver relevant forms, documents, and reports. In the case of the overdue customer, Alerts and Workflow can automatically resend the customer copies of their overdue invoices, a copy of their statement, and for that matter, Alerts and Workflow can also generate an analytical report, such as an AR aging report, and automatically deliver that report to the appropriate people. Alerts and Workflow does this by allowing you to generate all of your forms, documents, and reports, whether they are crystal reports, such as an AR aging report, an invoice form, a purchase order form, or for that matter, even generate and deliver graphic alerts, such as bar charts, pie charts, line charts, and the like. And finally, the last component of Alerts and Workflow is its ability to perform triggered updates, truly the workflow part of Alerts and Workflow. The example from earlier in today's presentation, if a customer is overdue, let's have Alerts and Workflow actually go back into our Sage ERP application and put that customer on credit hold, so no additional orders are processed for them. At the same time, we may also say that if an inventory item is approaching its reorder level, maybe we want Alerts and Workflow to place or create a purchase order for that item. Maybe there are even some occasions whereby the creation of a new order in your ERP system actually needs to get transferred or copied over to some other business applications that you're using. That's also part of the workflow component of Alerts and Workflow. Now, we should just take a moment or two to talk about a sample customer case study. In this case, an organization called Toyo, Inc. They are a multinational manufacturer of presses. Now, in Toyo, Inc.'s case, the big challenge or challenges that they had really were twofold. Number one, their staff typically was turning IT manager and IT department to run certain analyses to get them information that they needed to make the best and most timely business decision. And furthermore, with that, was that there was no way for Toyo, Inc. to automate exception management. Again, they took the approach of, I don't need to know everything that's going well in our company, but I do need to know about those things that are exceptions to our everyday business practices. I like to use the analogy here of don't deliver, a haystack of information to someone and expect them to wade through it and pull out the occasional needles. Instead, let's use alerts and workflow itself to identify just those needles and deliver them to the appropriate people. Now, I'd like to drop down to the very bottom of this slide because we have to talk about ROI. In the case of Toyo Inc., by automating certain processes that are currently being done manually, they were able to save an estimated 100 work hours every month. And that was through doing things like automating invoicing and collections, etc. And speaking about collections, my favorite ROI for Toyo Inc. is the very last one shown on this slide. By automating the collections process for accounts receivables, Toyo Inc. was able to realize an increased revenue of approximately $11,000 every month. Pretty impressive ROI, in my opinion. Now, we're talking about ROI, and of course, ROI is very much dependent upon what Sage Alerts and Workflow itself, how it's licensed, and how it is priced. So let's talk about that. Alerts and Workflow is not licensed per user. It doesn't matter how many Sage ERP users you have. It doesn't matter how many folks you have within your organization, how many people you want to send alerts to. Instead, Alerts and Workflow is initially licensed according to the number of applications you wish it to monitor. So if we start up at the top of this slide, let's say that initially you want to use Alerts and Workflow to monitor your Sage ERP application. And that's regardless of the number of companies that you have set up within that application. But let's say that you want to monitor your Sage ERP system for an unlimited number of business conditions. You want to send out alerts via all of the methods that I mentioned, such as email, fax, web dashboard, screen pop, instant message, social network. And let's say that you want to deliver those alerts to an unlimited number of people. You would be looking at a one-time license cost of just under $1,800. And again, that's not an annual fee, that's a one-time cost. Now, there are a couple of optional modules. Number one, maybe you want to monitor more than just your Sage ERP system. You've got a sales or CRM system. You've got a help desk application or an HR system. For each additional application to be monitored, it is an additional $1,799 until you reach 4 applications being monitored, at which point Sage Alerts and Workflow becomes what's called unlimited in terms of the number of applications it can monitor. And then there are 2 optional components, getting back to those 3 tiers that we talked about earlier in terms of the components of Alerts and Workflow. If you would like the ability to utilize Alerts and Workflow to automatically generate and deliver relevant forms, documents, crystal reports, and also graphic alerts, bar charts, pie charts, line charts, and the like, you would be looking at a one-time additional cost of just under $1,000 for what's called the Reports module. And the only other option is the ability to perform workflow, to trigger updates, such as putting a customer on credit hold, or pulling data out of your ERP system and pushing it over into a CRM system. That workflow or actions module by itself is also a one-time fee of just under $1,000. Now, we certainly do encourage you to try out Alerts and Workflow for yourself. The live shipping software is available for download from the Sage Alerts and Workflow website. It is the live shipping software. Nothing is disabled. It runs for 30 days, starting on the date that you first go into the application. And if you have any questions or need any assistance as you're evaluating Sage Alerts and Workflow, you have free access to our tech support department, as well as our online library of training videos and supporting documentation. And so with that, I will wrap up this presentation on the Sage Alerts and Workflow solution. You see up at the very top of this slide the contact information for myself and my colleagues here at Vineyard Soft Corporation. Do feel free to contact us with any questions you might have. And should you wish to purchase Sage Alerts and Workflow, that purchase is processed through Sage, specifically your Sage business partner. And the software comes with the license as well as an annual maintenance and support agreement, so you can get any sort of technical assistance that you require as you utilize the Sage Alerts and Workflow solution. Once again, my name is Don Farber. I'm with Vineyard Soft Corporation, but also speaking on behalf of Sage Software. I'd like to thank you very much for your time today and for your interest in the Sage Alerts and Workflow solution. We very much look forward to the opportunity to work with you. Thanks very much.